I can't believe you guys are late. I can't believe for all this warning, you guys showed up late. How's it going, guys? Oh. Wow. Hope everything's good with you. I forgive you for your lateness. It's okay. Oh. I was playing Pikmin. I got distracted. That's what I'm going with. So, AZ isn't here, but is Star here? Oh, okay. The music just went bopping. Hope that's better. Bones! Yeah, okay, so Sky? I'm assuming you're the same person. Alright, so for those not in the know, we are doing the critique stream, wherein we critique patrons' art and writing. And I will be critiquing the art first thing first. Because that is what I'm good at. So AZ's not here, so I will start with probably not who you think I am. Okay, wrong person then. Okay, cool. Okay. I don't know who I'll start with. I'm looking for a Sky. I need to change my name on YouTube? Okay, I don't know who you are. I don't pay attention to you guys. I only know AZ and Nat. I have anxiety possum. Ooh, I'm a dog. Ooh. I'll change to my Discord one. Okay, that'll help. Oh wait, I'm looking for a star. I'm not looking for a Sky. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm looking for Star. I have the exact same name. You do. It's very helpful. Yeah, so AZ will not be here. I don't know if Star will be here. Star, Sky, you can see how I mix those up. Remember when I thought Kuroe and who the other one? I thought you were the same person. Yeah, Cairo. Cairo and Kuro. I thought you guys were the same. That was funny. That was good on my part. That was such a little jest. Kairos, yeah. Oh no, I have to sneeze. 1 sec. Well, now it's not gonna happen. How dare it? It's only gonna happen while I'm trying to talk. Nope. Yeah, we did it. You are reborn. Nice to meet you. There you go. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, it sounds like nobody's here, so I can do whatever I want. I'm gonna start with AZ like usual because I'm hoping that Star shows up because I've never critiqued Star's writing, I don't think, and I might need some back and forth here to get some better sense of it and what is wanted of me. And then I will go on to Nat's from there because it's also part writing. Ugh. My teeth are sad. I flossed. Why would I do that right before stream? It was because I was eating and then plaque came. It was a whole thing. I don't. Disgusting. Teeth are gross. I hate having teeth. Get rid of them. I wish I had teeth like a hamster, you know, or just like. It'd be like a haircut, like you just have to clip your teeth, kind of like your nails. That sounds horrible because our teeth are horrible as they are now. But in my alternate reality, teeth are less annoying. Okay, I really need to focus. We are focusing. This is the official beginning of the critique. I'm gonna be... Hamster needs them for a fraction of teeth. Fine, I want teeth like an elephant, where I have multiple sets. Or like a shark. That'd be cool. Do you think Sidon, do you think his teeth like fall out all the time? Like a shark? Do you think he has like them loaded up? Because he is like a shark guy. You know? When he does his little smile, all his teeth go flying. How scary would it be if humans had multiple rows of teeth? It wouldn't be scary because we'd be used to it. It would be the natural. That's the secret. Or like a beak. Beak are like teeth. Beak are like teeth. They're constantly growing. And they need like trimmed and dremelled. And they last like a good human amount of time. So it's possible. What if we just had beaks like birds? I feel like this happens every time I say that I'm about to start. A shark with human teeth. Well, there are fish with human like teeth, and that freaks me out. Because human teeth, as they are now, are unacceptable. We don't even have fangs. But it would suck to have, like, fangs, because, you know, you'd bite your tongue and it would hurt way more. Well, the thing is, like, everything else in our body is so regenerative. What if we were, like, axolotls? And just did all grow back. That'd be wild. Okay, we're off track. I'm gonna start with AZs. This is the official getting to work so that Ursula is able to come home at the end of this faster. All right. Okay, on to the plan. Crit time. Let's go. So I read what is a new attempt at the beginning of the comic, from what I understand. And there's some stuff out of order. Also understand that. I think the scene, like Gil outside of the bar, all the way down to yeah, Gil inside the bar and Gil outside the bar. I think that's like the strongest opening you've written. I think, like, I really enjoyed what you have here. like I like that it sets up his character, because he like it establishes it establishes everything you need to know kind of about like his base character. It starts intriguing but not overwhelming. It introduces it introduces like his interests, and then it introduces like how he interacts with the world a bit. Like I liked the part of the scene where he goes up to the cellar door and knocks. Like I think it was good to kind of set up what is expected, because I think if you didn't have that, if you didn't have that exchange, you wouldn't as like neatly be able to tell that this is what he's normally up to, because he comes across as so anxious and like stuttery. Like I think the initial reading of that without the familiarity of the person at the gate would suggest that like he's not here, but like I think it does a good job to be like, no, he's just like this, and they know him here, and there's like a familiarity. Inside the bar, I enjoyed that as well, and I thought that the introduction to Des here was really strong. Like I think what it is like you have the two characters, because there's Gil, who I don't want to say he's put together, right? Like he's more he's less all over the place, I guess, right? Because he's not the ADHD one. So I like that his opening scene and whatnot is very methodical in a way, and I like that Des shows up at the tail end of a fight, ends up in the wrong place. And then I like that it doesn't continue from there. Like I like that there's like the just like a small glimpse of Des, because it definitely sets up that this is going to be an important character, but it doesn't take away from like the main purpose of like this introductory thing. Because I feel like this in and of itself would be a good opener. What I'm not sure about is like the later scenes that you write that like you want to interweave. Because if you end up interweaving the can you fill up my water? Yeah, thank you. Because I think like if you do end up interweaving like the lead into the fight, I feel like it almost I feel like it undoes some of like the sporadicness of it. Like I kind of like I like the layering of story information, so I like getting a glimpse of Dez, and I think that's such a really strong glimpse of Dez, because he's like so all over the place, and I think it's very show don't tell to have him show up, break something, just be quickly in another situation, and then, you know, like, he's just very all over the place, and it does a good job at setting him up, setting up some amount of normalcy with him. I think, and I just think it's like a really strong introduction, so I'm not sure if you'd want to write all of the lead in, because like this, the Des and Jay at the bar is, it digs more into Des. Thank you. As a character, which is fine. But it kind of misses the introduction that you're getting with Gil. Because, like, I like that we start by getting, like, this good character thing at the very beginning, setting up Gil, and then we go follow him home. We go to his business, and then we go to, like, the farm afterwards. Like, I like all of that, because you have one scene that sets him up as a character, and then it starts introducing, like, his relationship to the world, and then it further, like, gets into some of the family struggles, like, he's having. Like, I think that's a really good build up. And I think with Dez, like, the rowdy introduction of him works really well, and then I might go into fleshing out what the heck is going on with him, and get into, like, a more in-depth version of it. I'm not sure how you would do it. Like, I might go somewhere else with him first, maybe, and have him, like, think back on this or something. I don't know entirely, but I just think it's what you have now is just such, like, a strong introductory point with him that I haven't quite got until now. Because it was just very much like, okay, yes, that is 100% Des. That is the first thing that I'd expect you to know about him. And then we can get into, like, the nitty-gritty of his personality, like, why he wants to change how he is. But I think it's just such a very succinct, quick way to get him in there, an appearance. Yeah. I don't know. My complaint is that your beginning is too good. Yeah. And I'm not sure how you continue from there. But I don't think cutting in and out of it is a good idea. Because I would probably change scenes after the Gil and Des meeting, and then go to the Gil in bed scene. It almost would work like a transition from like the end of Gil inside the bar, like if you cut to something with Dez, because I know it wouldn't flow super well if you went to another point in time, but I think that kind of would work in your favor for setting up Dez because he's so all over the place. I think going from seeing him glancing back and leaving and then kind of smash cutting somewhere to some sort of scene would really work for him. Hello? Hello? Hello, world? Am I back? Can you hear me, world? Hello? 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 Oh my god. We need to get a new internet provider. Holy hell. Holy hecking hell. Yeah, I know I'm definitely back, but I don't know if anyone has noticed. Doot doot doot. Howdy howdy.
You done star submission?
No.
No.
I was just about to do it and then the government stopped me. I'm not allowed to do star submission. It cut my internet. They cut my internet. Wow. My internet got cut because I tried to speak of vices and virtues. Are they going to be available?
They're on the Discord.
Are they in the stream though? I wonder if my chat didn't reset. We'll try. Oh. Okay. They have been talking and I didn't notice.
Okay.
Hi. Okay, sorry, my chat hadn't refreshed. Yes, it's crit time. It's freezing. Buffering. Oh no. Was I able to finish AZ's thing? Or did it crash before then? It's good now. Okay. I literally screamed when you said vices and virtues. Yeah, I think so. Okay, I thought it just crashed right as I was getting into stars. So, well, now we have a good like hard cut. Okay, I readjusted the thing, but then my body readjusted again. My hair is crazy. Ursula cut it so short. It's more that it like goes up in there way more than it usually does. It's so weird. I'm like a little tomato. I recently binged your 100 Days of Making Comics. I love your advice. It helped. Hell yeah. Alright, Star. Alright. Okay, well, AZ, I if half of it is missing, then we we can talk. Okay. So, Vices and Virtues. I read it, and my first thought was, oh wow, I recognize the scripting format, because I have not read a script in this format that is not mine. So it was wild. Everyone else is Wild West. So I would say that what would I say? I'd say that what you got going on is very intriguing. There is a lot of intrigue, which is cool. Oh, wonderful. Ursula, I'm great at doing this, okay. Yeah, I'm interested to see how you get a lot of it across, which could be really cool or could be very confusing. So I can tell by your notes you want to be careful about that. Yeah, it's hard to say because I feel very in the beginning of things. So I would say that I'm very confused about what is going on currently, but not necessarily in a bad way. It really depends on how it continues from here, because there's lots of like intriguing elements, and you can tell that like the characters are also saying that Livy is being weird and cryptic, and you get that vibe from the story that you're watching unfold. Not clear how to script anymore. It's been so long. Yeah. Yeah, you get it. It very much comes across what the characters are experiencing, what like Evan and Neil are experiencing with Livy. I like that it's almost got like that like cosmic horror thing where she's stressing over this like all of like the text files and stuff. It's very that um very sucked into whatever this otherworld limbo stuff is, and I'm not sure where it's gonna go, but again, it's like not in a bad way, which makes it difficult for me to like give a lot of critique, because I think you do like a good job with voice. I think you're doing well like setting things up. Like you're setting up the relationships well between like Livy and Neil and Evan, and I like that there's like a slow drip feed of that information. So while it is kind of like a lot and it's still cryptic and I'm still confused, I feel like I'm grasping a lot of like the what would they be, the little I guess like life rafts of information in this sea of intrigue. Yeah, it reminds me, like, because I obviously write, like, mystery, thriller stuff, and it's very much in that vibe. You're getting that across. Livy Cosmic Horror. Yeah, there's something big. Evan said he can't organize a board game night. Yeah, exactly. Like those are like the things that I am getting from them. I'm getting all of that. Um I'm not sure what else I'm getting though, because like I just need to continue further into the story and see how things get revealed. Um I always as always happens, but I find it really difficult to critique the beginnings of stories. Um just because there's all this setup. Um and it's either great for what you're doing or not great, and I can't tell until I'm like further into things. Um so yeah, like I don't have tons of story critiques. Yeah. I like that they all have very different like texting voices. Like that's cool. Is there like stuff you wanted? The thing I'm struggling with is if I show if I should move forward with the call to action and such yet or not. Um well, I'm not really sure what the call to action here is going to be, obviously. Um what I would want to see, I think, and I don't know if this like works obviously with what you're doing. I think the natural progression I would want to see is to have Livy actually interact. Like it doesn't have to be super meaningful, but I do feel like if we go forward into all sorts of trouble without really fully getting a glimpse at the group dynamic, I feel like we're gonna be missing out on things. Because I think about like my issues in writing this kind of stuff, and like in Magpie I would have really preferred to have had Amanda interact with her father before he got kidnapped by an elder god. Because you only really get one chance to do that at the beginning, right? And even if stuff is still off with Livy, like I feel like I just want to see that. Yeah, it really depends on what the call to action is and how hecked up stuff gets. That makes sense? Yeah. Because I'm fine with it, like, I think it's really intriguing that it's kind of starting in the middle of action. Um, it's just like, you still need to make sure that you establish that kind of stuff. Just like a few more life rafts. Make sure that you have everything you want established before you go out to sea, because it's a lot harder to go back and add that stuff while everything's gone to hell, basically. Yeah, like I'd very much be interested to see more, because like, yeah, the more I see of a piece, the more I have to say. Obviously, if you guys hear me talk about AZs, it's because I've read so many chapters of it, so I have a lot more meat to go off of. Yeah, sounds good? Alright. Yeah, okay. That means I will go on to Nats now. Nats now sounds like a Pokemon. I caught a Nats now. Isn't it? Isn't that a Pokemon ring? Nats now. Nats now. I would do that. I go Nats now. Critique. Woo! Look, I did it. Look at that. Wow. He's amazing. How did he do that? How did the screen was like, and then what? Huh? That's what you're all thinking right now. Nose pass. Yeah. Oh, okay. So this was a bop, right? This was a lot of heads coming together and a button, which was exciting to see. Yeah. It's wild because we haven't seen these guys come together in a long time now. So it was really nice to see the tension kind of coming to a head. And I liked... Oh my god, why do I still not know their names? What's the main character's name? Allie? Alia? Alia. It was nice to see Alia. And the other one's Orla, right? Okay. I think, okay, on a side note to that, I think the reason I do not know your characters' names is because you have such strong character design. No, I actually think that's the case. I 100% think that's the case, because my mind organizes things based on, like, imagery way more than names. So my brain is like, oh, you don't need to know the names. There's the pointy nose one. And there's the other one. And yeah, no, your character design is just so strong that I have felt no need to read or interpret their names for 6 chapters. But it's Alia and Orla. Okay, I got this. I hope that's a good compliment. But yes, it was good to see Alia finally going into things. After, like, she's been so, like, internalized with all of it. So it was, I think it's a good point where it's all hitting off here. And I do like this too, where there's the regret for the behavior. Because, like, the thing with these two is, like, you know they still like each other. And it's so silly what's between them. But there's so much understandable frustrations as well. And I very much like that. And I very much root for these two to be friends again. And I think, well, I hope that it's being signposted a lot, because there's always like the little regrets from both of them, no matter what happens and the actual hurt that occurs between them. Fingies. Yeah, and you're seeing like the issues coming here. The tension, the problem reiterated. This face right here, that's great stuff. I just love thumbnails. Yeah. As always, like, I'm excited to see more. I'm just very glad we're getting into the character stuff on top of the action stuff. And the interplay between that is very good and exciting. It's a lot of talking heads, so like I like all the emotions. It's just there's something about it. I'm sure Ursula knows. She's smarter than me. It's a lie. I'm the smart one. Poor Allie. She's the baby. You're both the smart one. It's called the smart one, not the smart ones or a smart one. The smart one. One. Unless the two of us are a hydra. We are mind melded. No. She is a parasite upon me. Even if she is smart, is because she leeches off of me. Okay. Ursula, you take it away. Okay, I need to pull my shirt down.
Being the weirdo. Hello. Hi, friends. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Okay. What is this chat box? It's just like off the screen. I love it. Just the screen, the chat box was like half off the screen. It was cute. We love. I appreciate and love Bones because he's... Oh, true. Yeah, you did have to redo it. So that's probably why. Okay. We love Bones. We support him. He's a good kid. All right. Nat, my friend. Is Nat here?
Not that I know.
No? Okay. That's fine. Nat. Okay, so... Yes. Yeah. As usual, your pages look awesome. There's great, oh, pardon me. Wait. there's great like back and forth in this because like it's an argument is the majority of the scene, right? Where yeah, there's great just back and forth and interplay, and I like how domineering Aaliyah comes off in this scene where she's like finally standing up for herself. I know she has here and there, but like this is a big moment where she's finally saying like, excuse me, I am a grown lady who is powerful and you can't bully me. And it's really great how she just takes over the paneling in her triumph. It's really nice. Visually, I think it helps tell the story. Wow, kicking my microphone. Oh my god, he's taking it away. Hi. He's taking washi tape out of the drawer. Like a little goblin. He's got all his washi tapes. Goodbye. Away he goes. Oh, he put my wire into the drawer. Okay, there we go. All right. Anyways, so yeah, really great paneling to show the emotion and story. As usual, I think you have a very good handle on your paneling. I think there's only one nitpick I have where I would like to see a bit more of the room from the get-go. It's hard because I really like this first panel where we see Alia in the hospital room and then we see someone come in through the door, which is the grandma. But I think, and it's good because you want the focus to be on Alia. But it is, I did find it shocking when I discovered there was someone else in the room with them. I didn't realize she had a roommate. Just because, like, he's not shown, like, maybe a little bit near the middle of the scene. But it seems like she's alone in her room. And then it's revealed there's a guy there. I think that's my only tiny nitpick is just either, yeah, just show him somewhere earlier in the scene. Maybe even in this first panel, it just, when you're finishing the panel, it just needs to be more clear. There's like a bed and a curtain here. I'm not sure if it's a curtain or a wall, but just make that a bit more clear. Oh my god. He's back. He's back at the drawer. Yeah, so I think that's my only nitpick. It's just, it's a bit surprising when the roommate shows up. Let me see, but otherwise, yeah, there's great variance in your panels. There's great, like, the paneling all makes sense. Like I said, it's great for the emotional stuff. Yeah, otherwise, this is just awesome. I don't know what to say. You're delivering wonderful work, so it's hard to tell you what to do. I'm just gonna grab Discord so I can see what everyone is saying. Just in case there was a note you left that I missed. I don't think there was. Yep, and you just wanted, yep, art and composition review. Okay, so I think that's my feedback, Nat. When you watch this, let me know if you have any questions, and I'm happy to answer. Okay, so who would like to go next? Let's see, who do we got? Oh, right, I forgot. Bones always has it on Dorvac. He types like a freak. Fitz, you'd like to go? Sure, could do that. Sorry, I'm just sorting out who is who has what. But yeah, but I can definitely go over yours next. Let me see. Oh, you can hear the bird yelling. Okay. Okay, here we go. So, what did you write in your notes? Let me see. Okay, so you're working on your coloring and doing more painterly stuff. The first one is a drawing of your character Ivory. Oh, who you also sculpted into a doll. Cool. The outfit is based on one I bought for the doll. Okay, so it's not your design per se. Okay. Feedback on the coloring, composition, posing, and anatomy, and character vibes. Okay. The bottom is being cut off. Oh yeah, I can see that. There. Yeah. Character vibes. I'm getting obviously unicorn character. I'm getting like cleric vibes. Probably because there's a cross on the outfit and it's a little yeah, it just reminds me of like a cleric or is it bad to say like sexy nun vibes? You know, that's kind of what I'm getting. Cleric makes sense. Okay, okay. That works. Yeah. Okay. We love sexy nun vibes. Ugh. My grandmother was Catholic, so I'm like, no, we can't. But we can. Okay. So, right, for the coloring. So I am seeing the painterly stuff where it does feel like there's been some like buildup of the color, because in the past you've done like cell shading or like using some soft kind of gradients throughout for your eyes. Exactly. Yeah, I can see the buildup of the shadows, making it, yeah, feel more painterly. Yeah, I'm noticing it especially with the shirt, like using the kind of blue and gray tones instead of relying on line art to show like the detail on the body and the arms and the cowl part. He was demoted? Oh no, what did he do? Scandal. But yeah, but I can see where you're bringing in the painterliness. Yeah, so I'm seeing you're using line art to kind of show like where the most differentiation is. So for example, like the outline of the face is lined, and like showing like the bangs on the hair, or like the horn overlapping, that creates more differentiation. And same with the clothing, where like the folds in the clothing rely more on more subtle shading. I can't think of the words, but you know, it's not line art, but you're using more kind of softer colors, and using more kind of like shadow buildup instead of line art. Yeah, so I think there's definitely points where I find it really effective. So for example, like on the body piece, I really like how you've used some like kind of subtle gradients under the chest, for example, and then some like really blended out shading to show kind of like the shape of the rib cage and the hips. And then same on the stockings. I really like that subtle use of it. But you're also using like sharp shapes, like the highlight at the bottom of like the pectorals, for example, which then like leans into like a sharp shadow and then it blends out. Like that stuff's really nice. There's some points where I think it needs like the same kind of like attention. So like the place I'm noticing it the most is on the sleeves, where like I see what you're doing, where there's lots of like little folds, for example. And I like that you're using like say like darker grays instead of relying on lines for them, but I'm finding it's just a bit too much detail, if that makes sense, where I'm finding it distracting. Where I think, yeah, I think maybe relying on like less folds and focusing on getting like kind of core shadow stuff in, if that makes sense. And then same with here, where like I understand that it's like bunching up because it's like the sleeve is rolled down, right? But I don't know, I like it a little better here, where you're using a little bit of like a softer gradient on some of it, but yeah, I think it just needs to be like simplified down a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's nice. It helps you really build up the shapes instead of relying on line art. Not to say that line art is bad, obviously. Yeah, exactly. Like keep it subtle, like you have on the chest piece, and say like on the stockings, on the skin and stuff. Yeah, I think that's where it really shines. It's hard because sometimes there are, I don't know, pieces or objects within a drawing that you need lots of folds, like for when a sleeve is folding or something, or something's getting crumpled. But yeah, it's hard. It's a balance, right? Yeah, but anyways, I think this painterly stuff is kind of helping you build up your forms quite a bit. And yeah, I'd be excited to see kind of where you take it. Yeah. Was there anything else on this one that you were wondering about? Maybe I should pull up Discord on my screen so I'm not looking at my phone like a silly head. Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, the composition, right, and the posing. So compositionally, so it's got a lot of dynamicness to the pose, and that helps compositionally, right? Where you've got lots of like crisscrossing lines. Obviously, you have like the staff that he's holding. I'm assuming it's a staff. That's creating some like dynamic crisscrosses. You've got like the slant of the shoulders. You've got like the line of the leg. Even like his main pose has like a slant to it. So it's creating like lots of dynamic crisscrossing, right? That keeps like movement and energy up through the piece. And yeah, I think the posing works. Like I said, it suits it creates like an interesting composition. The composition itself, it feels very closed in, honestly. Around the bottom, it maybe not the bottom. I think because like you can have characters where it cuts off around like the hip, and like it's not like it's cut off at a weird spot where it feels like it's creating a tangent or something. I think maybe you need more space. Maybe on the left side, maybe on the right, and maybe at the top. It maybe just needs like a little bit more breathing room, if that makes sense. It just feels a little bit tight in on the character. Would it help if there's a border in text? You're gonna make it like a tarot card? Possibly. I'd have to see it. I'd have to see like the other elements, because yeah, having like a border or like items below it can kind of help build the composition up and really change how it feels currently. So you'll have to see. You'll have to play around and see what works, but currently it feels a little bit cropped tightly on the left side and the bottom, possibly. So yeah, you may want to pull it back a bit, but it depends how it looks with the border. Yeah. Yeah, see what you think. See if you like it. Because you can definitely have things that are close cropped. Like, I feel like I always give people advice to, like, pull out more on the composition, but sometimes you need something close, so I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. You gotta test things out. Yeah, did you have any other questions? Did I cover it? Beto, how you barking? Beto, what's up, bud? What's up, pup? Hello, man. That's good for that one. Awesome. So there's this one. Okay. So your friends were making Sailor Moon OCs and you joined them. Characters are Olivine and Lepus. Feedback on the design, shading, and posing. Okay. Love a Sailor Moon. A Sailor Moon. olivine and lepus. Okay, thank you. So from, I'm assuming lepus is the constellation. Olivine is a mineral. Okay. I assume so. Yeah, right, because the villains are all like named after jewels and minerals and stuff, and the Sailor Scouts are all celestial, right? Okay, so I'm assuming lepus comes from a rabbit, because I think lepus is rabbit in Latin or something. Indeed it does. Hell yeah. Okay. Right. So from olivine, I'm definitely getting like scientist vibes or like mad doctor vibes, especially with the scalpel, right? But he also has like the goggles and like a doctor's kind of coat type thing. That also I know the collar and the shirt front match like the villains outfits from that first season. And then I love the ears, the rabbit ears on lepus. Mad Doctor Scientist vibes, hell yeah. But yeah, they're cute. I like them. Is that good feedback? Do people like that? That's what I always tell Bones. He'll give me like a scene to read from something he's writing. I'll be like, it was good. I liked it. Sorry. Yeah, back in school we were always told like when you're giving critique, don't just say that. That's what I always say. It was good. I liked it. That's it. Nothing else, Your Honor. Okay. So as for the posing, I plead it was good, Your Honor. Exactly. As for the posing, so I think so overall the pose is good. Like it creates like there's good overlap of the characters and like it creates like a good kind of like story to it, if that makes sense. There's lots of like character and story showing through from it. I think Olivine's arms feel a little stunted, and I think the reason that's happening is because everything is kind of cut off at the bottom. I think it's a problem of things being stunted by the canvas, where it just feels like his arms got kind of shrunk because otherwise they'd be cut off by like the edges of the canvas. So that's just something to keep in mind for next time, where things are there but they're just a little bit short. But otherwise things look good. The coloring, there's lots of great contrast between the two. Obviously having green and pink is like good complementary, so they stand out together well. I really like what you're doing on the faces here. I like it a lot with Olivine, where I really like your use of the highlight and shadow on the face, where there's just this subtle highlight on the nose to show like the bridge of it, and then you have this like darker shadow that has like a nice little kind of like transition dark outline on it. Anyways, I really like that. It's very subtle, but it creates a lot of depth to the face, which is great. And I also like it here, where you've got the highlight and the shadow. Yeah, and there's lots of little subtle things things where I like how you've outlined the bottom of like the eyebrows and then left the top just as a highlight. It creates just like some interesting little bits of like depth and volume to what you're working on. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's my main feedback. I think the complaint I had with the last one about like the folds in the clothing, I think is done a bit better here. Like it blends well with like the rest of the style here, just because it's like larger pieces of like clothing folds. It's hard because there are situations where you need tiny folds and there's sometimes where you can use these more kind of like big folds. But yeah, there's something to keep in mind where I feel like this is more in line with like the rest of it. It feels more balanced.
Very important. Are you almost done?
What is it?
I don't want to interrupt someone's critique.
Oh, well, I'm in the middle of Fitz's.
How many do you have left?
This one and what?
Just...
Like of the stream?
No, just of the critiques. So there was something very important to share with
What?
chat.
Oh my god. Hold on, we'll go to... Hold on, I'm sorry, Fitz. I hope you don't mind this important interruption.
Just open it. Oh, shoot. Yeah, maybe on Chrome would it open? I don't know if it would just show... Oh, no.
No, it just downloads it again.
I don't know how we would care. It's very important. It's a very important thing that I have to share with the chat. Oh, I don't want it to be loud. No. Whoa.
It's all falling apart.
It's all falling apart, I'm sorry. Oh. Is it loud?
No, I don't think.
Can you show this to the chat?
What is it?
I'll explain.
Okay.
You have it queued up.
Okay, hold on.
It's very important. I'll explain what's occurring.
Oh dear. Okay.
This is not worth it. Does it not show it?
No.
That's weird. Well, I guess no one will get to see it.
Just share it in the Discord.
I thought it would be like easier. Is it not like a... Is it like a... Not display capture video? Maybe? That's weird. I like that OBS can load. OBS camera.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we'll finish Fitz's and then I'll do...
Okay. Sorry, Fitz. Okay.
I'll go between. Do the intermission.
Okay. We'll do the intermission. Okay, so... What was I even saying? I don't know. Yeah, it's good. I like it. Did you have any other questions, Fitz? Was there anything I was in the middle of and have now forgotten? Hello, welcome. Folds, I think? Oh yeah, the folds. They are good. Yeah. Oh, I would like to highlight, I really like the subtleness on Lepus's hair, where I like how you've got this like kind of opalescent gradient going on, and then you've cut through it with the white for the highlight. I think that's a nice touch. But you think that's good? Okay, awesome. I can do the last one. So it's drawing of a doll I recently ordered from another artist. Named her Ursa after the constellation. Can't take credit for the outfit design. Feedback on the posing, coloring, and shading. Yeah, the posing's really cute. Yeah, there's lots of like dynamicness to it. Thanks for watching, Sabo. But yeah, the posing is great. There's lots of good, like dynamicness to it. There's like crisscrossing lines with like the shoulders and the arm, and head tilt. Yeah, it's really nice. For the shading, yeah, I think the same kind of deal, where I really like how you're using the highlight to kind of show. Yeah, like I like this kind of faded gradient highlight that you're using in different spots, where it's not lined, but it helps kind of show the volume of what we're looking at. So that's nice. You've got some... Oh, one thing. I really like the folds on the jacket here. Where part of it is like kind of lined and it's very thin, and then we just get the shadow. I think that's kind of like what I'd like to see from the folds with this kind of like painterly thing that you're working on. I think that's kind of like what I'd like to see more of. I think another thing for the shading is I really like what you've done for this like bear cushion, where it's like dark on top from where she's sitting, and then it gets lighter as like the shape kind of like bulges out and gets like highlight on it, and then you've got this like sharp shadow underneath where it like squishes, right? I'd like to see... and I should also say everywhere else, I think the shading is really good. The only thing is her legs feel a little bit flat because it's missing some of the shading that's like needed for the angle. So I think there'd be more shadowing on like the front of the shins, for example, and at the knees. There's some subtle shadow, but like there'd be a bit more just because like if her legs are like forward and then bent, there'd be that shadow. Didn't add enough gradient to the sock. Yes. Add more gradients, please. But yeah, otherwise I think the shading is doing really well. And the posing. And the style is really cute. I like the kind of chibi-esque style. It's cute. Did you have any questions? Is there anything I didn't cover? Oh, well.
Okay, I sent you a link.
He sent me a link, okay. Hold on, I gotta see if Fitz has questions.
Very important.
Good to hear. The composition is all right in this one. I'd say so. There's one thing I'll say is like, because the other ones I was complaining about things being like cut off by the edge of things, but I think this one works very well. Where you think I should do any elements on the sides? I don't think you need to. I'm worried it would take focus away from the character, because I like how there's lots of breathing room on every side. There's it's a very balanced composition where it's like a square, you have your character right in the middle. There's some good, like, using the shadow and stuff underneath creates some good, like, weight to it. You could possibly put a frame to it. You could also put some background elements, like, I don't know, some cute hearts or bears or something, but I wouldn't go crazy with it, because I'm worried it would distract from the character, and I think what this is, like, works well. It's balanced. Doodling some stars on the side. You could. I think personally, I just like how simple it is. You could add things, but it might be too cluttered. You'd have to see what you like. It looks good as it is. That's good. Hell yeah. Awesome. Okay. Bones really wants me to show you this, so we'll see.
Okay, so we were out of ice cubes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give water to the dogs, and to cool it off, I put some frozen corn in. I thought they would just be skimming off the top like they do with ice cubes, and I came back out to this.
I will show. Oh, of course, it shows up on the wrong one. Come on. Oh my god. Oh my god. Gosh dang.
Okay, don't worry about shipping.
Okay. Eating the frozen corn. Oh, munch. You can see why this is very important. Munch.
There was bubbles blowing out her nose too.
Baby.
I think I'm mad because like, what
are you doing?
I don't understand
Munch. This dog. What are you doing? Oh my god. Okay. I understand. I understand. Thank you. Oh my gosh. So cute. A delicious snack. Bobbing for corn. Yes. All right. Thank you, Fitz. Who would like to go next? We have Terrarium, we have Pigment, we have Ink, and we have Kuroe. If any of you are here, I would be happy to look over your work. Hold on. There. Opening a new can of Coke. Hum, hum, hum. Hum, 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 hum. Serena's silly. She'll do that with ice cubes. If we have, in the summer, we'll put ice cubes in their water because it's super hot, right? And she'll bob them out and put them on the floor. And I'm like, this defeats the purpose of putting the ice in your bowl, baby. And she's like, no, I just want the ice cubes on the floor. And then she doesn't eat them. Manica does, though. Manica will go in and munch on them. So, yeah. Alright. I'm not seeing anyone volunteering, so I think I will just go down the list. Maybe everyone left because our stream died earlier. Okay, that's fine. Kuroe. Okay, so Kuroe, yeah, so I was looking through your thumbnails, and they're fun. It's a cute scene. Not cute. There's kind of a horrible attack, but but like, yeah, it's fun to read. I like your stories have a lot of like energy to them, and it's very fun. But anyway, so for this chapter, yeah, the story felt very clear. It was easy to understand what was going on, and understand like the story beats. There's lots of cute little fun stuff in it. Yeah, there were some standout panels that I thought worked really well. So yeah, a few of them I'm excited to see are when Mackie's like practicing and working on the different equipment and stuff. Or is it Mackie here? Or it could be someone else. But anyways, I'm excited for this panel. I'm sure it'll be really fun to see. And yeah, you're doing some really fun stuff with paneling where like I like when they're talking about the different events, you're seeing different people doing the actual sports. I think that's cool. It's a good tool you have when you're doing visual stuff to show instead of just have people talk about it. So that's great. And I also really liked the last like bit where Honda comes and attacks him because he's like, quit the team and stop hanging out with the girl I like and stuff. Where yeah, there's lots of great like flow between the action, like especially here where like he punches Mackie and falls and then is like threatening to break his arm and stuff. Like it has good flow. It makes a lot of sense. I like the panel stuff you've chosen. Like I love the where you see Honda come up behind him and he's very tall and intimidating, and then we just see like the close-up on his sharp teeth when he's saying like quit the team. I think that's nice. And then yeah, great flow with the action for when he's attacking Mackie. And yeah, and I love the dramatic page of Mackie standing up and fighting back for once. That was great. I like it. Yeah, I think there are a few things you need to watch out for. So I think you've got a good eye for kind of your important pages where you do have these kind of like focal panels where things are really standing out, like I pointed out. But I think some of these kind of like transitional pages, they feel there's some issues with the panels, not the content of the panels, but I think the way you're showing everything, it feels very, it's all the same size. Not the panel specifically, because you do have some large panels and small panels, but they're all camera-wise, they're all like mid shots, if that makes sense. We're looking at the characters are all the same, same distance from like our camera. They're the same, it's very much like a straight on angle. They're all at the same distance. It's very repetitive in how you're showing this scene. So especially early on where it's just them talking. So I like how we have this initial page where they're all together. We can see them all. I might even, because it looks like they're all walking to somewhere or leaving practice or walking to practice. I'm not sure. But we see all of the team, all of the characters there. I think it might be better to have them... Sorry, I'm getting into a different point here. Backtracking. So these panels in particular, where they're all talking, right? It's a lot of repetition. So I like this first bit. So after our establishing shot on page 1, we have, we're a little bit closer. We can focus on someone who's crying or upset. Not crying, but upset. Because they're like, the club is over. So I like these first 2 panels where we see more detail and close-up, and then we get a close-up of the character's face who's saying something emotional. And I like how then we have someone standing up and saying, like, you're reacting, everything's fine. I like that you have, like, a full body shot there. So that works. But then the next few panels, it's all very much the same. So it's the same angle, it's the same close-up shot, just repeated over and over again. And I think you need to keep up the use of mixing close-ups with like pulled-out shots. It's hard because you are working with a big group here where it's like everyone's there. But I guess you do only have a handful of characters who are like the speaking roles in this scene. But yeah, but some of these you can do like more close-ups when they're saying something impactful. You can pull out more or do like showing someone from below, showing someone from above to show like they're more commanding over like the scene when people are saying like we're doomed and no we're not, and people are yelling at each other. I think you can do more kind of like interesting angles, and maybe even bringing some of these together where lots of things are happening in one panel. Yeah, where sometimes you can combine things so then it's like a larger panel where it's more pulled out and we see more characters. But it creates just differences between the panels. It's you want to avoid, especially in like a talking scene, you want to give people, you want to avoid having the same panel over and over again, where it's just person talks, other person talks, person talks, other person talks, and it's all the same. So like it can help to give them something to do, like maybe they're cleaning up after practice, or I don't know. But anyways, I can give you more options to show different angles and stuff. Like don't be afraid to put in some weird shots. I guess mix it up, you know. Yeah, so that's just something to be mindful of. I would also say even in panels where I really enjoy like the composition and I think you're creating a bit more kind of like difference between the panels. So like on 7, I like how you have Mackie walking with his friend, and they're kind of like busting out of the panel. But I think, and I'm seeing it across a lot of these panels, everything is very squished to the sides. You're filling the whole panel instead of having breathing room around them. So if I were you, I'd keep the composition, but I would make them smaller. Make sure to create some breathing room around your characters so they're not being squished against like the edges of the panel or the edge of the page. And that's just something throughout. So like here you have a character who's like squished in the corner or like squished against panels above it. And even within panels, sometimes they're a bit too close and you don't really have room for your speech bubbles. So that's just something to keep in mind. Keep more breathing room and differentiate between different like angles and shots between your panels. So yeah, I think that would be it. I think that would be my biggest thing to consider. Yeah, more breathing room, different angles. Because later on you do it, like here, where they're discussing like, where the is it the coach? I'm not sure if it's the coach or a different character, but they're giving like a rallying speech, right? Where I like how you have a close-up of Mackie and then you pull out a bit and then we see like the whole group and then there's another close-up and then we see like the whole group from above, like more stuff like that, more change up like that. But yeah, just keep in mind breathing room. Make things a bit smaller in the panels. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's my feedback. Kuroe, I know you're not here right now, but let me know if you have any questions. Yeah. All right. Hi, Gleamy Arts. Welcome. Okay. If no one is here who would like to go next, I'll go down the list. Ink is my next person. So 2 submissions. They're both OCs. So start with the evil one. The character I've sketched many times, haven't quite done a full sheet for them. So the questions, 1 is a vibe check. 2 is, do the shapes make sense? 3, what type of animal person do they look like? If it's not clear, how can I convey it better? Okay, so vibe check. Definitely evil. I'm getting like evil warlord type character. It feels like there's something very like it feels very like 90s anime anime villain? I don't know. Like I think it's like the shape on like the top of the helmet. That's very like, I don't know. I'm getting like Power Ranger vibes, if that makes sense. Like that kind of genre where it's very like obviously Japanese inspired, but like also has this very like 90s kind of power armor look to it. I hope that makes sense. That's the vibe I'm getting. But yeah, very villainous. They're like, it's very sharp. Sharp shapes and like, you know, like these very like empty eyes. Yeah, just feels like a very scary guy. As for the shapes, so there's clearly this like kind of spikiness going through. And there's also a bit of, there's some kind of like squared off shapes as well. You see it mostly in the kind of nose piece of the mask and then around the waist. Where everything else is very spiky and organic, if that makes sense, because you've got this like kind of slice across the chest plate. You've got these very rounded, like pointed pieces. You've got this like trident thing on the helmet. There's like this curve to the spear. There's curves to the gauntlets. The claws are very like curved. There's little curvy points on top of the bracers and stuff. Yeah, so it's very, it's almost like very heavy on the kind of curvy sharp bits, and then yeah, I like the kind of square geometric shapes to it as well, because it creates an interesting, it creates like an interesting standout, if that makes sense. So you have all these like sharp curvy bits and then places of like focus, mostly the face piece, like having it squared off, like it creates like focus to it. So that might be something you want to like use to your advantage, where places you want contrast, you can use that like square kind of shape. So like it could be the face mask, it could be a weapon, or maybe you want like focus on the character's hands, or like a, you know, there's symbols on the shoulder pads, maybe you want to like draw attention to those. So you could create like, I don't know, a square or a hexagon kind of shape or outline to it. I'm not sure, a decal or something. But yeah, there's something to consider. And then what type of animal do you think they look like? Like I'm seeing fur. And there's very like kind of curved claws. And there's clearly armor. I don't know. I think bear is one, because it's like very, because like there's claws, there's fur, they're very big and bulky. I might be reading into the armor piece a little bit too much, because it could just be like a personification kind of thing, where of course they have clothes. But maybe like an armadillo? Where they've got the armor and then fur underneath, and like the kind of curved claws. Yeah, those are my guesses. Now let's see. So you put it under spoilers so I can see who it is. Oh, it's based off a sloth? Oh, shoot. Okay, I was kind of thinking that because of the curved claws, but okay, that makes sense. Okay, so he's an evil villain from an ancient order that wants to reshape the world. He's a king. Love it. Okay, so yeah, lanky arms and the curved claws. Okay, so he's a sloth. Very angry for a sloth. I always read sloths as like very chill. But he's angry. Okay, so if you wanted to convey the type of animal more clearly, you may want to like, I can see it in the claws, but you may want to like push it even further. It's hard to tell because it's not like a full body image, like it's cut off at the knees. So it's hard to tell like the full stature of the character, but you may want to push the long arms even further. You may need to make like, to balance it, you may need to make kind of like the hips and legs smaller and kind of create this like curve to the back and kind of like push the length and curviness of the arms even further. So maybe they kind of like dangle and touch the ground kind of thing. And maybe you need to make the claws a bit bigger to kind of like highlight them. That could help. Because I think the other distinguishing feature about sloths is they're kind of like, they almost have like a face mask kind of look to them, right? Like lighter fur on their face. So yeah, you might want to lean into that. Again, it's hard to tell because it's not in color. But kind of getting the face markings into the, either the fur or into the armor would probably help as well. And changes to make? Yeah, I think just what I said about using the shape language to your advantage would really help you. And possibly changing kind of like the body structure to kind of show the animal a bit better. Because you can make a sloth, like, even though like I read them as like chill and cute, like you can make them intimidating by especially using like stature, where you can make them big and imposing and like yeah. They could be scary. Yeah, and especially if you focus on like the claws, you could definitely make it intimidating. But yeah, so anyways, those are my notes. So we'll move on to the next one. Okay. Oh, she's so cute. So you're just looking for a general critique. This is a sugar glider named Sugar with a cute little cape and a crown. It's a pet of the Mushroom Queen, an OC that showed up. Yes, I do remember the Mushroom Queen. We stand the Mushroom Queen. Oh my god, I love Sugar. Can Sugar be my queen? First off, this is so cute. I love the big eyes. I think you got the markings and the body and face, like, super accurate. Totally looks like a Sugar glider. And yeah, and I love the color. I love the crown and the cape in purple. It plays well with the kind of like cream and brown shapes in the fur. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I like how the teal kind of comes through in the claws as well. That's so cute. Yeah, I think it depends on the lighting source, like where this is just a design obviously, but if you're working with like an illustration where she's placed in it, I'm not sure about these teal highlights. It works on her cape because it's a lighter color on a darker purple, but I'm finding using the teal on her fur, especially here on the front where it's like lighter fur, it's a little distracting, where I think you need to play around with like the lightness of it, like the value, where if it's on lighter fur, it needs to be like brighter kind of thing, lighter and brighter. And then same with like on the mid-tone fur, where yeah, I think it just the levels need to be played with a bit to kind of make it feel more natural lighting, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. But she's so cute. I love Sugar. I think that would be my main bit. I really like the way you've drawn, because they have the skin kind of between their arms and legs for them to glide, and I like how it's all like curved and crumpled. It's so cute. It's so cute. She baby. Yeah, I don't have much feedback. It's very well constructed. There's good use of shadow. Yeah. She's just good. I hope Chad agrees. She's just a good lady. But yeah. Yeah, I think I will say that. There's a very good sense of shape. Just from like the overlap of like the wings and the cape and the shape of the face and the curve of the crown and the cape connecty bit. Yeah, it's a very sturdy piece. She's so cute. Yes, thank you. You understand me. But yes, we love Sugar. She is our queen. 10 out of 10. All right, Ink. Thank you for submitting. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will move on to Pigment, who I don't know if they're here. Okay, so one page for this month, dealing with art block. Because of this page, oh no. Okay, so you're having trouble getting it to look how you want it. You just haven't worked on it. Okay, you kind of put it down because you were struggling with it. Been there. So it's a redo of a previous page you critiqued a while ago. You suggested I show their personalities more in their panels. Okay. Yes, I do remember that. So I think you've kind of got it here, where I definitely see kind of who they are, because it's going over different gods and goddesses, right? Okay, Pigment, I know you're not here, but I would be curious kind of like what you're struggling with. If it's composition or... Yeah, I'd be curious to know kind of like what is in your way. Though sometimes it's hard to express kind of what trouble you're running into. But anyways, so first off, I love the framing. I love this kind of like gilded frame that you've got going on. Especially at the top and bottom where you've got these like leaves and curves and stuff. That's great. Yeah, it just creates a really nice frame. I like these little kind of crossed leaves you've got going on, but I'm not sure about the X's as well. If I were you, if it's possible, you may want to kind of take these like leaves and vines and use them to create the rest of the outlines of the panels, and maybe make the lines a bit thinner. That might help just kind of make things feel more cohesive for you. But yeah, but I love the frame. The frame is awesome. Okay. So you have Atena, goddess of the dead. Theus, god of war and chaos. Ah. Me. Rayona, goddess of joy. And Shosoi, goddess of knowledge. Okay. So, I think the trouble you may be running into. So first, I think you're showing their personalities really well. I like how they each have like this kind of like item that's their thing that like goes along with their like what they're the god or goddess of. Where we've got like the lantern, we've got the bow, we've got the lyre, and we've got the parchment and quill, right? Is it a lyre or is it a harp? I don't know. Anyways. Yeah, where I think... So the panel that works the best for me personally is Atena here, where her lantern and her posing really helps with the flow of the page. So her lantern is on like a focal point within the panel, and then we're able to follow like her arm and then her hair and her body, and it kind of swoops you over to here. Whereas I find with Theus, he kind of points you down this way just because of like the stance with the bow. You literally have an arrow pointing, which is where the eye will follow, which then brings you here, which I'm not sure if you want to. I mean, it does kind of lead you off the page is the issue. Like, I guess it doesn't matter kind of which way you read these because they feel very like balanced and even as long as you get to this at the bottom. So I think that, you know, depends on how you want it read. But I'd assume you'd want top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. So if I were you, I would point the arrow down towards the bottom left panel, for example. So it could mean just turning him. Maybe he needs to be more in profile. I'm not sure because it might be too repetitive to have them both in profile facing like this way. But yeah, but having the arrow kind of point down towards the next panel you want them to look at. He himself is on a great focal point, and I like how he's framed by the moon. Yeah, I think the arrow and the bow is really causing trouble with this one. Rayona is good. Yeah, honestly, I like how she's facing the right way to kind of lead you to the next panel. She may need more. You may need to move her up like a smidge, like up in the panel a little bit, just because. Yeah, I think it would just fill out the panel a little bit better. And you may want to, with these little I'm not sure if it's clouds or flowers and little sparkles and stuff, but you may want to make them a little bit bigger and have them overlap more. Something like that. They just feel a little tacked on, where you may need to like use them more strategically. Yeah, just so that they're not cluttering it up and they're more complementing her. Because I find like the stars with Atena, they feel very subtle. Where yeah, they just feel like they're highlighting the scene instead of distracting from it. And then for, is it Josoi? The last one? I'm struggling with the name, but where she feels very much like stuck in the bottom right corner, where you may want to kind of move her up. I do like how her scroll and the books kind of lead you down to this final caption. So like you need to keep that, but she feels very kind of small and tucked in the corner. It might be you need to move her more centrally. You might need to move her up. You may need to like change her pose so it's a little bit like, you could kind of put it like a twist in her pose. To just create like a little bit more dynamicness, because it feels a little flat and a little stuck in the corner. So that's, I think, yeah. You may need to play around with the posing just to make sure like the flow is there and there's still that dynamicness to it. Oh, I can see that. Vanilla blooms. Yeah, because, yeah, it could be that, yeah, the goddesses are all very similar in size, and then Theus is like a little bit smaller. So yeah, you may want to play into that, where either they all need to be the same size, or you can play around with, like, Atenna is, like, a mid-shot, and then Theus is more pulled out, and then, I don't know, Renoa is pulled out, and then Shosoi is like a close-up or something. I don't know. You'd have to play around with it. But yeah, I could see that too. Where either they need to all be the same size, or it needs to be differentiated more. It is hard, because, yeah, with all paneling, each panel needs to have a good composition, but it also needs to, like, build to the whole of the page. So yeah, so you need to keep the flow in mind, but each panel needs to be its own lovely little composition. Yeah, with the last goddess, there's definitely something very flat about her pose. So I'd bring in maybe like something more dynamic, where maybe she's like, I'm picturing, okay, it's bad. You know that like boobs and butt pose that like, I don't know, corny superhero covers have sometimes that everyone makes fun of? Kind of doing that, where like her torso is kind of like facing the viewer in like a 3/4 panel, and then like she's turned so her hips are like from a profile view. I think that's what I'm thinking, but obviously there's more dynamic stuff. You could even show like, have her looking over her shoulder so she's more cool. I don't know. Or she's like more absorbed in her books than paying attention to the reader, I guess. Yeah, and it might also help you to play around with using different kind of stances, because I like how Theus, where like he's looking down at the viewer with his bow. But maybe with Rayona, you need to see her like sitting on the ground or something with her harp, or sitting on a chair. That might help. Just bringing in more elements to kind of give you stuff to play around with. Yeah, that could also help, having more background elements to lead to either interactions with the characters, or just filling out the space more items to work into your composition. Yeah, so hopefully that was helpful. But yeah, this is super cool. I love pages like this, where it's like a little explainer and we get to see kind of like visual representations of like cool concepts and stuff. Anyways, yeah, so this looks great. So I think that leads to our final person of the day. Last but definitely not least. From Fantastic Terrarium. So, okay, so we have a superhero design. I'm looking for a critique on my coloring. Okay. I think it turned out well, but I'm having... Okay, but looking for a fresh pair of eyes. If there's anything that stands out, line work, character design, and form, feel free to point it out. Okay. Cool. Coloring. Okay. So... I love... Okay, so the color palette works really well. I love the use of like the gold and the white and like this very like rich brown in the skin. Like it's very cohesive. I really like what you've done with like the actual like gold pieces, where there's great like glossiness to it, where it feels like it's like actually gold. And yeah, so it's cohesive, I would say. I love the little like wing decals on the hips. I think that's great. And I'd love to see more of that, I think, throughout. Like, you don't want it to be overpowering, but if her superhero name is like Guardian Angel, like we gotta lean into these little wing scallops. Come on. Like, you could put them into the shape on the boots. You could bring it in more to the shape of the cape kind of thing. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. Oh, and I love the symbol where it looks like a clock. I think that's great because it seems like she has time powers. That's my guess. But anyways, so I think it's hard color-wise because what I'm seeing is like you've got her face where she's dark-skinned, she has dark hair, and we have this detail on like the gold in the hairband and like the collar piece, right? Or the neck of the suit. Where it's just got all this great detail. It's very dark, like high contrast, right? And then the rest of her outfit is like pure white and like light yellow, right? And I think it just needs that connective piece between her face and the rest of the outfit. And that is hard because with superheroes, obviously, like it's covering all her skin, but you could bring in some like either black or brown pieces, whether it's like outlining the shape of like the boots or something, adding some lines or texture, something like that. Her hands could be bare, or there could be a gap between like the suit and her gloves, kind of. There could be more kind of like shiny gold pieces, like, I don't know, a belt or pieces on the boots, or I don't know, jewelry or gauntlets or something. There's lots of things you could do with it, but I think that's the one thing that's really standing out, yeah, is that there's a kind of color disconnect between her face and then the rest of her outfit. As for like the style of like the line art and coloring, like I said, I love the work on the metal pieces. I like your use of these kind of subtle gradients where like you've got some highlight on like her nose and her cheeks and her forehead. And then the rest of the shadow is more subtle, like it's very blended out. And then same with like the rest of her body. I'm noticing a lot of detail like on the stomach, for example. Like I like the subtle lines because like it's a, you know, it's a body tight suit, right? Where we can see, I don't know, like the curve of the stomach, and like I like how you have this like subtle separation between like her stomach and the start of her thigh. I'd honestly add more contrast to that because that's such a nice way of shading things where you're using the highlight to really like differentiate the different shapes of the body, if that makes sense, instead of relying on line art. So yeah, I would honestly add more contrast, like darken some of these shadows. It might come out a little weird looking and then you might need to pull back. But yeah, but same with like the legs and stuff. Like there's some highlight here on her feet and her legs, but like I want to see more contrast. I want you to pull out those shadows and really show them more. And you can keep this kind of like subtle blended look to it, like in her face. But bring in more contrast. And you could even bring in more contrast to her face. Like you could add in more shadow on her neck, or like I don't know, a darker shadow to show off her eyelids, or like where her hair is like overlapping with her face, or like the underside of her face kind of thing, like bringing in some more contrast and shadows to everything. And I think that would also help with the contrast issue I'm seeing between her face and the rest of her suit. Where I think if you bring in some darker shadows, that would probably help make it feel more cohesive. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, but the thing is, like, I really love the subtle shading and line work. I also like the use of these like big dark patches, like under her chin, where her hair is shadowed, under the arm. Like, that's just a personal thing. I really like when people use like black fills along with their line art. I feel like it just brings a lot of depth to things. But anyways, yeah, and I really like it on like her cape where it's overlapping. I'd lean into that too, like utilize those shadows where you can. Yeah, I think that's my feedback. Yeah, I'd love to see more kind of that wing shape. That's just me personally. You could, because there's also a lot of like triangle shapes throughout, like with the shape of the cape. There's obviously like a triangle motif on her symbol, and then on the boots and stuff. So you could lean into that as well. You don't have to lean into like wing shapes, even though that's what I want. Hi, Brightside. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, lean into the shapes more into the outfit. You have them started. I'd like to see I'd like to see it pushed more. I want to see more contrast, and then maybe bringing in some darker colors throughout the whole design just to feel cohesive with like her face. Yeah. So I think that's it. Did I cover everyone? I think I did. Anyways, well, thank you all for joining. And I apologize to our stream people, our critique submit people, because I was bad and forgot to put in the deadline. So this month I will remember to do it for June. Yeah, so thank you all for watching. We'll be back next month for more critiques. If you yourself are watching and you want your stuff critiqued, you can sign up for our Patreon. There should be a link down below, and all the information is there for how to get your stuff critiqued. We look at scripts, we look at comic pages, character designs, setting designs, short stories, whatever you got, we'll look at it probably. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Talk to you later. Mwah.